Hola and welcome back, all you amazing spikes. I sure hope you are having a great day. And even more, I hope you had a wonderful spring break and are well rested and ready to math on. So today, guys, we are going over the Pythagorean theorem. And this first part is pretty simple and straightforward. It's asking us to label the legs versus the hypotenuse. This is the last unit we did, so it should be pretty fresh on the brain. But I know it's been a spring break, so we're going to recap all of this and go from there. So a Pythagorean theorem, it only works with the right triangles. You know it's a right triangle when it gives you this pretty little right angle symbol there, meaning that is a 90-degree angle right there. And determine the difference between the leg and the hypotenuse. There are always going to be two legs and one hypotenuse, okay? So the hypotenuse is going to be across from the right angle. And what I tell my students is I'm saying, hey, think of this as making an arrow. And it's saying, I am pointing to your hypotenuse. So this here is my hypotenuse. Now the others are one hypotenuse, meaning the other two sides are going to be our legs, okay? And you'll know it's the legs because the legs actually create that 90-degree angle. They're the two sides that come off or create the 90-degree angle, okay? So this is the leg, and this is the leg. We'll do one more together, and then your teacher will hit pause, and you can do the other 6. So once again, here's our right angle. There is our arrow pointing to the right angle saying, hey, it is across from me. Meaning this is our hypotenuse. Sorry, it is pointing to the hypotenuse. I'm not sure if I said right angle or hypotenuse earlier. The right angle is pointing to the hypotenuse. All right, which means the other two sides, which connect to that 90 degree or create that 90 degree, are our legs. That's all we're asking you to do. So go ahead and pause the video, teachers, and label the other 6, please. Welcome on back. We're taking a notch up, and we are now looking at a graph, and we need to find the hypotenuse. Now, guys, when they give you these graphs, you'll notice that this is a diagonal line. When you connect those points, that's going to be your hypotenuse. What I need you to do is create a triangle where the 2 points meet, okay? So I would take this line and extend it, take this line and extend it, and they make that triangle. Now, if you're a student that likes to go the other direction, it's going to give us the same answer, okay? So we're going to go up and over. So no matter which way you have your triangle drawn, it's not going to be incorrect as long as you count right. But it will be wrong if you create like a random triangle like that. No, you must follow the lines, extend where those dots are, and see where they meet, okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and use this black triangle here. And we need to count the side lengths because that's how we're going to set this up. So let's go ahead and count that first. Now, this is at -4, and we know from -4 to 0, that is going to be 4 jumps, because from 0 to 4, it's 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. And from 0 to 3, because this would be 3 here, would be 3 jumps. So we already did 4, 5, 6, 7. So this side length is 7. Now, you can do the same here, and the reason why I'm telling you that trick is because some students have a hard time counting these on the screen. So just know that this is at 3, and from 3 to 0 is 3 hops. 1, 2, 3. And then this one's at 2, so from 0 to 2, it is 2 hops. So we're already at 3, 4, 5. 3 plus 2 is 5, okay? 5. Okay, so the Pythagorean theorem, the formula is given to you on our star sheet, and it gives you a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, a lot of students find it hard to recognize A, B, and C. So this can also be known because this is A, this is B, and that would be C. The hypotenuse is always C. The A and B can be interchanged because it's addition. But this is a leg, this is a leg, and this is our hypotenuse. So if you like the idea of going leg squared plus leg squared equals our hypotenuse squared, go for it, okay? But this is asking us to solve, formula to solve the problem, and the problem is asking for the actual hypotenuse. This formula gives us the hypotenuse squared. What that's saying is it's saying, hey, I'm going to give you the entire area of this space. So whatever this number is, squared. The way we break that down to find the actual hypotenuse is you would now need to cancel out this squared by using the opposite, which is square root. So square root of a squared plus b squared is going to give us our actual hypotenuse length. Now, if you're thinking of that as leg squared and leg squared, you can just do the square root of leg squared plus leg squared equals our hypotenuse, okay? This is what we're going to be following for like this entire page. So make sure you at least have this written down if you are unsure how to do it. And let's go ahead and work this one out. This formula, our leg, if we're looking at our formula here, we're going to do our square root sign because we're trying to solve for the length of the hypotenuse. And we'll take 7 as the leg. I like to take the larger number first. This will create a good habit for when we get to a different page. So I'm going to do 7 squared plus 5 squared should equal our hypotenuse, okay? Now you can label this as should equal RC, should equal our missing side, question mark, whatever you want to put there. But make sure you have this set up here. If you put 5 plus 7, that is okay with addition. But truly, guys, I would get into the habit of putting the larger number first, okay? Let's look down here at this example. I want you to discuss real quick, or I want somebody to tell your teacher how you know which one of these 3 numbers is your hypotenuse. Ready, set, go. Okay, teachers, hopefully somebody shouted out or raised their hand and told you that, hey, the hypotenuse is always going to be the largest number, okay? It'll be the largest number because the hypotenuse is the longest side. So this is our hypotenuse, which means that these other 2 are legs. Now that we have them labeled, it is easy as following our little formulas that we have up here. We know it's going to be the exact same that we just did. Square root of our leg squared. Now I'm going to take the larger one because I like starting with the larger leg. So that'll be 28 squared plus 21 squared is going to equal 34. Now, I'm not asking you to solve this, y'all. I'm just asking you to set up the formula. Because what's going to happen is when you type this into your calculator, square root of 28 squared plus 21 squared, if it does not equal 34, then this is not a right triangle. If it does equal 34, then we're good. This is a solid right triangle, and these numbers would work out. So I want y'all to go ahead and do exactly what I did here for these other 4. Teachers, you may pause the video, and we have one more sheet to complete. All right, welcome back. And now we are looking at just solving for the missing side. Now, earlier we wrote down the formulas to solve for the side, which was gonna be square root of a squared plus b squared equals RC. And we said, hey, that can also mean the exact same thing as leg squared plus leg squared equals, oops, I put the square root of the c, equals our hypotenuse, okay? So this is when we're trying to find the hypotenuse. So what I want you to do right here beside this is I want you to put finding the hypotenuse. We will add, okay? The reason why I want you to put that down is because some of them were trying to find the hypotenuse while others were trying to find a leg. And we need to go ahead and jot down the formulas for finding a leg. So if you were to mix this around, I always tell my students, hey, if we're finding the hypotenuse, we will add. Well, if we are finding a leg, or if we're given the hypotenuse, we will, what's the opposite of addition? Subtract. Okay, so that's going to look like this. You can do the square root, and it doesn't matter A or B, like I said. So we're just going to, but you always have to, with subtraction, you have to put the hypotenuse first, okay? So this would be C squared minus A squared will give us B. Or in other terms, which I like using leg and hypotenuse, it makes it clear for a lot of us. So on this one, it would be the hypotenuse squared minus the leg given squared will give us that missing leg. Okay, so these are the two formulas we're going to be using for these next two pages. Make sure you have it written down. If we're finding the hypotenuse, we're adding. If we're given the hypotenuse, we're subtracting. So this one here, taking a look at it, we got a right triangle. It's pointing to our hypotenuse, which means we are finding our hypotenuse. It's labeled as x. We need to solve for it. So we're going to use this top one. We would do the square root of our legs. So if this is the hypotenuse, that means these are our legs. I always take the largest one first, which is 15 squared plus, because we're adding, 8 squared. And it's going to give us our hypotenuse or x or whatever you want to label it as. Let's look at the next one. Next one, I'm going to take this here to see if we're given the hypotenuse or if we're finding the hypotenuse. It looks like we are given the hypotenuse, which means we are searching for a leg. If we're given the hypotenuse, which means we are finding a leg, we are given the hypotenuse here, we're going to be subtracting. It is super important that you put the hypotenuse here first, okay? If not, you will get an error on your calculator if you try to do a leg, then the hypotenuse. So square root, hypotenuse first, which is going to be our 20 squared, minus our leg, which is 9 squared, will give us our leg, okay? Or x that it's labeled. Teachers, if you can go ahead and pause the video and the students can do the other 6, I'd appreciate it. Last page, guys. We're on the home stretch here. It's very repetitive. So on this one here, we are given points. I'm only going to do one, and then you're going to solve the rest, okay? So this one's labeling our points. It says point C is located at -4, 3. So we need to plot that point. Remember, we got to walk before we run. So this first, walk before we ride the elevator. So this first one, we walk to -4. And then we ride the elevator up to the 3rd floor. So this is C. Then it says point L is located at 5, -2. So we walk to 5. And we go down to -2. This is L. This is saying, hey, what is the distance between C and L? So now we're just solving just like we did earlier on that page. Okay, we're trying to solve here, just like we did a few minutes ago. So you would create your triangle. I'm going to create it in blue. Remember, just extend those lines from the points till they meet each other. And you would count your hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Guys, the common mistake here is that students count blocks and they lose track of it. So if it was me, I would count from line to line. That's 1, 2, 3, so on and so on, okay? Or you can use the method I taught you earlier. From 5 to 0 is 5 hops, so from here to here is 5. From 0 to 4 is 4 hops, so 5 plus 4 is 9, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last but not least, you're going to set this up like we've set all the other ones up. We are finding the hypotenuse. This is what's in question, which means we're adding, okay? So you're just going to do the square root of your leg. I always do the largest leg first, so 9 squared plus 5 squared. And that's going to give us our hypotenuse. The ones down here, guys, are going to be the exact same type as what you just did a few minutes ago. So be sure to identify the hypotenuse and then write the formula for solving it. If you have any questions, discuss amongst yourself. This is teamwork when it comes to solving some of these. I understand that. Do your best. Be sure you write your name on it. I forgot to say that. Write your name on it. Turn it into your teacher. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day.